understand that, and you'll get better. It will get better once you start to use it and correct the errors that you make. Everyone makes MLA errors. Even I do sometimes. One thing is that MLA often changes the rules, and so slightly, very slightly. And so right now, MLA, Modern Languages Association, is in its 8th edition. And so when you're citing your sources and quoting and creating works cited pages and annotated bibliography, all of which you'll do this semester, you'll want to follow MLA Guidelines 8th edition. So I just wanted to walk you through some of the documents I have in Canvas in its own module. I've created its own module because there's so much to say about quoting and citing and works cited. MLA is a requirement for English, and it's about 1/3 of the content for the course. So it's really important that you don't just ignore it and move on and focus on the writing, because MLA is one of the student learning outcomes. So you do want to pay attention to it and do a little bit of your own research and video watching. Okay, we'll start with the first one. What is a citation? And I'm not going to read all of these, but I'd like to just point out a few things. So a citation is a reference that you put at the end of your sentence after you've quoted a source or you've paraphrased a source. And so if I note in your essay you're missing a citation, that means that you didn't tell me where you got that information from. And also keep in mind, this will prevent you from plagiarizing. So you must have a citation every time you borrow language from someplace else. It could be a video, it could be a photograph, one word even, especially for poetry, it doesn't matter. One word, you still need to tell your readers where you got that information from. So some things you don't need to cite, we're calling it common knowledge. And so here's some information on that. Why cite? So citing builds credibility in your work by showing you are not alone in your opinions. And so I'm asking you to quote from other sources and then cite them. So tell me where you got that information. And you'll practice this at least 3 times throughout the semester, probably more, in each of your essays. And so you'll quote and then cite. By not citing or quoting your sources is considered academically dishonest and may lead to charges of plagiarism. And I do take plagiarism very seriously, so please pay attention to where your quotations begin and end, and that every time you have a citation. Also keep in mind, when you upload something to Canvas, it has the feature called Turn It In, which is VeriCite for Canvas, and it shows me where all of your sources come from. It shows me that you went to a certain website and you grabbed some language here, you went to another student essay and grabbed language there. So be aware that I can see where you are going. That doesn't excuse you from not doing it. So you do need to practice citing your sources. So parts of a citation. Look at the MLA style guide for all the parts of a citation, and I'll click on that in a moment. owl.purdue.edu is a great site to verify or look up any MLA questions you may have or formatting issues. And so when you cite in text, that means in the body of your essay, the body of your paragraph, you also need to put that citation on a works cited page, so at the end of your essay. Okay, so let's go to the MLA style guide. The MLA style guide, here you can click on these links and jump around. Again, we're in the 8th edition, so it tells you what InText Citations are, what a works cited list is. And so when you're doing in-text citations, again, when they're in the body of your paragraph, you want to put the author's last name and page number at the end of the quote. Sometimes you won't have a page number, which is fine. Just put the author's last name. If there isn't an author, here we go. If there isn't an author, you put part of the title of your article. And then if there's a page number, you add that. If there's no title, there's no author, no title, and you're using a website, then you would put part of the website, not the whole URL. Please don't put HTTP, www, 2 lines of an URL in the body of your essay. You want to put part of their website, like cdc.org, for example. So I want you to review this document. It has a lot of information, but this is the most important page here. I know many of you will use a citation machine, like, I can't think of it right now, that will create these citations for you, create a works cited page for you. But here's the order. So your citation should look like this, double-spaced, of course. So author's last name, comma, first name, period. Title of the source in quotation marks. Title of the container. Now that's a little different for this version of MLA. The container is part of a larger whole. So part of an episode on a TV series. A container could also be a book. For example, what I've assigned for the first reading is The Banking Concept by Paulo Freire, and it's in Pedagogy of the Oppressed. That is the container. Pedagogy of the Oppressed is the container. Then other contributors like editors, version number, publisher, publication date, and location. And so location is, if you scroll down here, it'll tell you where the location is. So location is the URL. Hopefully you can find a shorter URL. Or it's page numbers of an article or page numbers of a book. And so this is the order of all of your citations that go on your works cited page. And then if you don't know, so if you're looking at print sources, tells you how to source cite there. If you're looking at research databases, you'll definitely be looking at research databases in Unit 3 when you're doing your research on Canvas. You'll be looking at the Los Rios library and the research databases. Many of you will be pulling sources from websites, and so here's the basic format for a web page. If you're quoting and citing from a film or television, this is the format, and you will be watching a few films this semester, so make sure you adhere to the MLA citations for that. And then annotated bibliographies, I'll give you more instruction on that, but I just wanted to walk you through this document, and this shows you how to organize your paper, how to format your paper, and this is in Word. Okay, so let's get out of this document. Let's go back to the module. So that was the style guide. Let's go back down to style guide. Okay, module, MLA module. Okay, so MLA essay formatting. Most of you have the hang of this and have formatted an essay before in MLA. And so I just go over the basic title of the essay is centered after the heading, no bold, no italics. One thing that happens with spacing is sometimes, I don't know if it's Google Docs or what, but you end up having too many spaces. It looks like it's double spaced, but it's more than double spaced. And so I've created a little video here on how to eliminate these extra spaces. Every paragraph is indented 1 tab, margins, 1-inch margins on all sides. And so here's a template, and it's in Google Doc. And so you can just start typing into this document. Start typing your essay. Actually, I need to go back and fix that because the heading is not there. The header is not there, and there's too much space here. Here, I'll just show you really quickly. Remove space after paragraph. See how it tightened that up? And then insert. I'm not great with Google Doc. Let's insert a header, and you want to put it on the right-hand side. So put your last name and then page number. Page numbers. Let's see. There. And then just double click out of it. But you'll notice it's a different font. So let's change it to Times New Roman so that the fonts all match your essay. There. All right. Perfect. Let's get out of that. And let's go back to the module. Okay. Went too far. In-text citations and quoting. So again, I go over what is a citation. I just briefly told you that. And then how it should look. So here is where the issue typically lies, is at the end. So after you've finished your quote, even if that sentence ends, you do not need to put a period inside the quotation marks. You put the author's last name, page number, and then the period goes on the outside here. Okay, so you don't need double punctuation, even if that sentence ended there. Your quotation marks must be at the beginning and end of your borrowed language. Sometimes it's hard to tell when you are incorporating other voices into your writing, where your writing begins and ends, and where the other author or the source begins and ends. So the quotation marks are really important, and that they're accurate. They're placed in the correct spot. It's like putting words into your mouth. Like someone says something that you said, but you didn't say that, right? You didn't say that, but someone said you said it. That's what it's like when you misquote someone in an essay. Also in the citation, you do not need to put page or P or PG in the pound sign. Nothing goes in there except the author's last name and the page number. And then again, the period goes outside the citation. Let's go back. Oh, I know what I could do. All right. So I also put signal phrases. I just added this today. What are signal phrases? Signal phrases tell us who said what when you're quoting and citing. And so it's introducing the author. So you can put the CEO of Lighthouse predicts, right? And then at the end of this, you would put a citation, because I don't know who the CEO of Lighthouse consultant is. I don't know where you got that information, right? So you would put a citation at the end of that, because I need to know your source. Where did you get that quote from? Here's one. According to a recent survey from Pew Research Center, more than 50%. Now, I know for sure that most people do not have statistics embedded in their brains. So I know that you got that from somewhere. And you say that it's a survey from the Pew Research Center. You still need a source at the back. You still need a source at the end of the sentence. Because who knows if this survey was public? Where was it published? Was it published on the CDC website? That's what I need to know. I need to know where to get this information from if I want more information, or if I want to look up your sources. Signal phrase introducing a summary. Okay, so here's another question. Why do we use them? To mark boundaries, like I said, to emphasize the source. And so this is really important when you get to a research paper, to emphasize the source, to give credibility to the person that did the research, because that will strengthen your essay and your point of view. And then 3, which should be number 1, to avoid plagiarism, in my opinion. And so it's really important to use to use quotations and signal phrases and citations. So here's some more examples. And the reason why I put this here, vary your signal phrases. Use different verbs instead of Leo Bolstein said, right? Or states, or says. You could say they emphasize, they illustrate, they insist, right? So you can use a variety of verbs. All right, let's see what's next. Introducing quotes. This also helps you with a variety, adding variety to your language, helps to improve your vocabulary, and it helps you to clarify your statements. And so these are some templates on how to introduce quotes. And so X argues blank and I agree because. Now I got these templates from a book called They Say, I Say. I'm noticing that there are a lot of examples with the first person I. I is okay in some contexts, but you want to move away from the I, from the first person, unless it's a personal narrative essay. So you can leave it out. You don't even need it. You don't even need it. It will strengthen your writing. Please trust me. It will strengthen your writing. So especially for an argumentative essay or your research essay, you will not be using I, the first person perspective. It will be a primarily objective point of view, which you'll rely on research and what others are saying. So about your topic. Okay, so look at these beginnings and ends, or beginnings, I guess, on how to introduce a quote. And here's another template and some other verbs. So that's all I wanted to say about this module on MLA. It's really important that you get a good grasp on MLA because it will follow you throughout your educational career. Some courses will use APA or Chicago style, but for English and probably most of humanities, MLA is the guideline or the format that we will use. So I hope that was helpful, and enjoy learning about MLA.